Come, let me get you something.
Good. All right. Welcome,
What's up?
welcome, one and all. We are here, and Mountain Sabers is with us.
What's up?
Welcome to
Let me
Saber
get my
Talk
phone.
Sunday. Mundo
What's
in the
up?
house, and Mountain Sabers co-piloting. We're gonna be flying through tonight.
Yes, sir.
We are gonna have an awesome show tonight, man. And guys, I am so glad. Hey, and hey, Charlie, have a good workout, Charlie. You know, much respect, dude. Have a good workout while you're listening, man. We're gonna have an awesome show today. It's gonna be kind of fun too because I actually did my research a little early today, and it's funny because I almost didn't get to do the show because I thought I was gonna take this whole weekend, go hunt, and then I was probably thinking about doing this show over there at the ranch at night. Well, Saturday morning, my buck came out. I took him down, and I had to come back into town to get him processed. So my season's over with already. So hunting season is done with for this year, and I am so happy because that'll be food for the family later on. When things get hard and stuff. So it'll be good. It'll be good. But
Nice.
yeah, now I can concentrate on working on sabers and everything else here at the house. Shows.
Right?
Concentrate
Yeah.
on shows. Okay, so tonight what we're going to be talking about is saber install tutorials, but saber tutorials in general, because there's a lot of facets that go into making the sabers, right, James?
Yes.
And so there's all kinds of material, all kinds of things that you can watch, and so many people now that are doing all the different tutorials from say, the fonts, wiring, designing. I mean, you name it, they've got it, and you can have your choice of who you want to go watch, who you want to go see. And James here, he's even put out some tutorials out there, and
Yeah, a little
uh,
bit, couple here and there, but there's so many out there that I would be doing if I do any kind of tutorials at all. It would be just on my way, like how I would do it.
right,
Because
it's a personal way. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, people can take heart. It people can take heart because different people have different ways of doing things, and you don't have to limit yourself just to one way. You need to find out, and this is all for the newbies. This is just not for any of the veterans out there, because the veterans have already pretty much found their way of how they're going to do things. But when you're coming into this hobby and you start looking at all these tutorials and you start doing this and doing that, you can pretty much use what they offer you. But in the long run, you may think, okay, well, I tried it this way, but I've tried it that way, and this way works a little better than that way. And you know, you have to find your way in doing all of these different installs your way. Eventually, you're gonna do it your way. I mean, you may put some elements towards the others into your installs and stuff like that. But in the long run, you're gonna find out what works best for you and what doesn't work for you. Just like James here, I mean, he can attest. He probably saw some tutorials and then decided, hey, this really doesn't fit with how I'm doing certain things. I'm gonna try it this way, and this is how it's gonna work. And lo and behold, yeah, that works for me. I'm gonna stick with it.
yeah.
Is that
I mean, it's just
is that a great
if you watch
assumption?
a whole, yeah, absolutely. You watch a whole bunch of them, and a lot of them are really great. I mean, that's a lot of them actually I've learned from. So and they're from a couple of years back too. So but everybody takes on what they've learned, and they create their own. So everybody has their own style. and
Hmm.
ways of doing things. And sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's hard. I've seen some tutorials where I'm like, wow, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I don't know how he even did that, and it's remarkable. But that's 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 amazing, and not everybody's going to be able to learn that particular way. But it's really great that you can just pick up little hints here and there, and then kind of make it your own when you do the install, or you do a sound font, or whatever it may be. A model back here, any of these things.
Right, absolutely. And I know that you know, in the past there's been quite a few. Let's start with one of the greats that actually started stuff um besides Rob Petka, but Shamim, he was absolutely great. And when I started watching certain videos, he was one of the ones that I kept watching constantly. And he started teaching people how to kind of wire up nano biscotti. And
Yeah.
that was just like, oh my God, like that was so good to see him do the wiring and then the soldering and then all of these little things that go into creating the sabers and stuff. And I found it so influential as well as inspiring because when you see people doing these installs and you think to yourself, well, damn, I think I can do that, and you attempt it. But there's certain things that you got to watch out in some of those videos too, because they're not going to show you every single thing, and that because you do have to learn some stuff, and you can learn from those, but there's certain things that you got to learn that they don't have actually the time to show you every single piece, right?
Right. And the addition to that is if they don't, somebody else will. See, that's the thing. If they
Hmm.
haven't shown it in their tutorial, well, guess what? It'll come out in another one, and that's great because it's just a continuation of what you wanted to accomplish or wanted to learn. So I see that a lot in tutorial videos, and it just expands and expands and expands. And like I was saying before, the community is great with that. We establish the main objective is to get that little thing or that noise sound install to
Hmm.
perfection, to something that could be put out there with no problems. And actually for self-worth too, I mean, if somebody didn't know what they were doing, and I've had that happen to me a couple of times, where in the beginning, I've had a couple of people message me, and they asked me,
Hmm.
"Hey, what's a how do you do this? What's a great place to learn?" And I said, "Well, I always send them to a couple of different places." So
Hmm.
and the ones that I rely on the most, to get that thing, because I'm not going to say, "Hey, I have one. I don't have one." I think you should go here and check this one out because this was done really well. And then if you don't pick up on that one, here's another one. So they just keep coming. Like it's like a book. You just keep turning the pages, and there it is.
Right. Like also one of the very first videos that I actually learned from was Rob Petcow, Mad Cow,
Hmm.
from Custom Genesis. But he was doing tutorials on how to wire buttons, how to do blades, um,
Right.
how to do all kinds of things, right? He was one of the very few people that I actually watched. I probably watched before I even attempted my first blade, right? Um, I watched his video on the blades probably about 1,000 times before I even soldered one piece of wire because
Yeah.
you know I was so intimidated about making a blade. And even Anthony, Anthony was like, "Hey, Mundo, just go for it, dude." And and then Anthony put out, uh, a blade making video as well for the TriStar. Excuse me. And he also, I mean, he Anthony's done a few other um, install vids too. I mean, tutorials on, checking your blade from here to there and everything else in
Right.
between. Uh, you know, So, but between Shamim, Anthony, and Rob Petkow, I mean, I was just and I cannot forget Megtooth also.
Oh yeah,
Megtooth was very influential as well. The
yeah,
first time that I seen him put that microscope and soldier wires to to
sure.
the board and to do this and to do that, I just absolutely love that because I was like, how did he get that? How did he do that? And come to
Right.
find out, it was the microscope that he got that close in there and like, holy
Oh yeah,
crap. That was just ingenious to show people that, hey, this is what it's going to take for you to do some great installs, some
that's
great
right.
wiring, check your stuff, make sure it works, and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely loved it, and I love becoming a friend of Megtooth. I mean, he's just an awesome guy too.
Oh
There's
yeah.
so many
I made a
great
sound
people
font for
in.
him.
Right?
I did. I made a personal sound font from his boat. It was pretty
Oh,
cool,
dude,
man. Yeah.
I bet
So
it sounds wicked.
no, he's an awesome guy. And I learned a trick or two from him too. So it's pretty good that he puts it out there for everybody to learn and understand. That exactly what you said. This is what you're going to have to go through to create
Hmm.
something cool and something good. It's not all going to be rose petals. You're gonna have some issues along the way. You're gonna have some bumps along the road, but other than that, he pretty much clear cuts it the way and very quickly too. I mean, it's and he's learned from other people too. Birch, all
As
those guys.
well.
Um,
Yeah.
who taught him a couple of things about you know tucking some wires and stuff so it doesn't fall out of the board, so you could solder it easy. It's great, and you know what? Sharing that information to me is probably the best part of this whole community is sharing because everybody's got to learn. I mean, not everybody's an expert at it, but it helps everybody understand what it entails.
Absolutely, man. And it's fascinating too because you see different ways of doing things. It's not just one way of doing it. And for
Nope.
somebody who's coming into the hobby, they're like, especially if they're lost, they're like, where do I start? What do I do? How do I do this? How do I do that? They have tons of questions.
Yep.
And I encourage everybody who has all of these questions to go and watch a lot of these videos first before asking other, these certain people, these certain individuals, builders, and whatever have you will. Because when you start watching videos first and you start learning that way, if you're a visual learner like I am, uh, you can look at stuff in the manual too. And if you are dyslexic like I am, take your time. You want to take your time and make sure that you get the right information because yeah, some people may do things so fast that you get lost like what, I don't
That's
understand,
true.
and you play it back over and over again but they're still talking so fast that you're like, I don't understand. It's
That's true.
okay, it's okay, just take your time. You don't need to rush things, like Rob Petkow says, you rush it, you wreck it. So take that to heart and go
That's for
with that.
sure. That's a great
Take
that's a
that.
great analogy because if you rush things, you'll forget something and all of a sudden you turn your saber on and it like a lot of things have happened where it puffs up into smoke. You blow all the MOSFETs and you're done. It's a tricky situation, but if you learn, if you take your time, which is exactly the point, take your time. I don't
I
rush any of
didn't.
my installs. I don't rush any of my audio. And oh, yeah,
I I
that's the
burned.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah, I burned two of these because I rushed it
Oh,
when I
oh,
was started. When I was learning. When I was
right.
learning, I
Yep.
burnt two of these out.
Yep.
Working on my memory saber, Roy boy.
Yep.
Hey
Yeah.
Titan, glad you could join us, dude.
Hey, cool. Yeah, I burnt a couple of Profi boards in my day, because it was, everything was very tight, and you're starting to learn how to wire everything. Well, I've been soldering since I was a kid, so from learning from my brother and stuff. But and I've always kept that in memory, so I have good skills with that. So it would made it a lot easier, to do these things. I'm not saying everybody has
Hmm.
that skill, but learn how to do that well, and then everything else, will basically fall into place. Just one thing at a time, like you said, patience, one thing at a time. Do some
Yeah,
trial runs, on some things,
right,
because trial runs, work on a little piece of wire, connect the wire together, make sure it really looks good, make sure you got a solid joint before you even touch any electronics. It's there's an order of it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that order, but it would be better if
right,
there was, because it's just stepping stones,
right. And one of some of the videos that I've been watching too, man, is
Yeah.
from Avery Castillo, right?
Okay.
And he has been doing some and Tony from Ronin Sabers as well. They both have done some excellent install videos, right? The wiring and stuff. Different sabers too, nonetheless.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they do short videos as well, right? Like one video they'll wire up an LED. The next they'll wire up a speaker. The next they'll wire up, the board. They do it in sections so that you can see. And some of the boards that they utilize, of course, Avery he likes to do I know he likes the CFX more or
Yeah.
less, right? He likes the CFX and the Profi uh, more or less because they're the higher end boards. He's done a few videos, of course, on the Golden Harvest, but his two are the Profi and the CFX, which,
Yeah.
excuse me, the CFX I really enjoy as well. It's just harder to soldier to, but the programming of it is very pretty much simple. I mean, it's a copy and paste thing, so to speak, and the what I like about the Golden Harvest and the CFX together is when you put their fonts on there, it's almost pretty similar in terms of numbering system and everything.
Yeah, it's
So
very similar. Very similar.
so you can
I like
interchange
CFX. I
those.
think CFX is really nice. They're coming along with the new editing software online and stuff like that. Tristan's working really
Hmm.
hard on that. And obviously the Golden Harvest 4 is out now, so that thing is going to be, amazing, so, but everybody has each board, like I said, has its own, diversity, has its own structure, has its own, um, I don't know, profile, I guess you can call it, um,
Hmm.
and obviously they're always, the wiring and the installation tutorials will be very much different. But it's just a matter of how much you want to absorb, how much you want to learn, you know. I love all the
Right.
boards. I do all the boards. I do everything from Xeno to CFX to Profi to Stereo to whatever's out there. SN4. They're all like I said. They all have their own profiles. It's fun.
Right.
A lot of fun to do them.
Exactly. Now, in addition to that, um, what do you call it? See, like Lando Sabers. I don't know if you remember him. He's not around right now, but
A while back, I
earlier,
remember.
way back then, Lando Sabers, he was doing tutorials on sound fonts on a Profi, right? So he would show people how to do sound fonts in a Profi.
Yeah.
And he did. I really enjoyed his tutorials as well because not only did he do a tutorial on sound fonts and adding into Profi, but he also did his research and showed, and I believe and I'm hoping because I haven't seen it in a while, but if you go and look up Lando Sabers, you can see where he did research on which saber companies were good and bad, like which ones to stay away from, that
Mhm.
basically are just take your money and give you crap, you know.
Mm.
So it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth for the hobby. And
Mm.
I, you know, and I believe
Sometimes.
that,
Yeah.
you know, um, people should have a good experience with the hobby, you know, getting into
Oh,
it for their first saber. They should never have a bad experience with the saber, you know, at least their first one.
and I think the
Um,
community directs everybody very well in that aspect. I think they have majority of the community has picked their favorites, and they pick their people that they like, that they would recommend for a first time
mhm.
buyer, or a first, or maybe even an upgrade for that matter. So everybody, I believe in the community that I'm affiliated with, in different groups and stuff like that. They seem to have a handle on that, and they try and steer people away from the other stuff that might cause a bad experience.
Right, and that's a good thing too, because you know, for somebody who's coming into the hobby, they need to know those things because if you know, now you can't help those people like, yeah, but it's cheap, you know. I gotta get this because it's cheap.
Yeah.
And well, you know, cheap is not always the greatest thing. I mean, you know that proverb is, you know, you get what you pay for. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it stands
Yeah.
true in this hobby. It really stands
It
true in
really
this hobby.
does. It does. Quality means everything, and you don't always necessarily get very good quality at a lower price. I mean, it's
Hmm.
very rare, if that. It's very rare.
It really is. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, you were talking about Tristan, right? And the
Oh
crystal
yeah.
focus. And he also explains and he does tutorials on blade effects, right?
Yeah, he does.
And
Graphics and all
and
that stuff.
and so he is such a great resource to go for your blade effects, man. I tell you, day in and day out, I never get tired of seeing his blade effects, man.
He's
I
helped me
just
tremendously.
I'm just in awe with some of those blade special effects that come on, especially with some of your sound fonts and other sound fonts. It brings that saber to life in that moment, you know.
Oh yeah.
And even like and since we're dealing with FX and sound fonts, you know, we're gonna jump into a lot of different aspects of that as well because Fat 263 is such a prominent person in blade effects as well for the Profi, right? So
Oh yeah.
We got Tristan for the CFX, and we got Fat 263 for the Profi, man. And
Yep.
and so these two titans of blade effects take advantage of these guys' tutorials because I tell you, if you really want the best experience for your lightsabers, um, you know, go and look at their tutorials and everything else on top of that, and then you can utilize that information to really enhance the experience of what you want out of your saber. And I tell you
Sure.
what, without these guys, it I think we probably still would be doing a little bit of plain FX here and there. I mean, it wouldn't be as
Oh yeah.
exciting as seeing some of these things that are just out of this world.
Yeah. No, he's what can I say? He's really, these guys are titans, man, when it comes to, doing these type of effects and stuff like that. And it doesn't end there. There's all kinds of things with manipulation between sound and light and all these things that he's pre-programming, and same thing with Tristan. They're both doing the same thing. Same thing with GFHV3. They're doing that as well. They've got the same app on online now. So they're really making it like, here's my take on it, and you said it all the time. It's visual. It's a visual
Hmm.
learning experience. But some of the tutorials do go into depth, and they go into depth of his caliber. See, he's not going to tell you the basics of, let's say, for example, C++. You have to learn that on your own. Once you start learning that on your own, then his coding tutorials on blade fonts, on blades styles, and all that will start to become clearer. So it's really a matter of a stepping stone of getting to that point, because he's only telling you in his mindset. You know, if he's asking, telling, hey, why is my blade, not lighting up, or why is that like reflecting funny, or why is my colors, why is the blade not working at all? So he'll give you basic steps on how to retrieve that answer, but the rest is really up to you. You have to kind of decipher, you know, those little nuances before you can get into that kind of coding.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even those are
Hmm.
there is a style, there's style editors and all that other stuff, which really is pretty simple. I mean, if they're making it so simple now that really anybody could do it without any experience. And I think that's the direction that everybody's taking, because they don't want to wait that long for things like that. They want to go on there, they want to do it, and they want to have a nice blade style that they can create and have a great feeling about, hey, I did that. Check out my blade style,
Impatience.
man. Look, it's matching and everything. So I think that's the direction.
Impatience. I think people would get, it's not all, but some, and quite a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
people, would get frustrated because they wouldn't have the means to actually do that stuff. You know what I mean?
sure.
If you don't
And it took
have
a
the
while to
means,
get to this point, by the way. It didn't take over. It wasn't overnight. He kept on saying, "Be patient. This is coming out in the next OS," or "I'm working on this right now." You see, you have to follow up with all of this stuff. And I think that's important. You got to follow up on the material, on the reading material, and the tutorial videos, because that is the stepping stone to get to where you want to be.
right? And that's, you got to take your baby steps. You got to take your steps. I did not do that. So people, please learn from me. If you don't learn anything else, learn from my mistakes as well. Because when I started Roy Boy, and because of it being a memory saver, I wanted to run before I could crawl. I was
Don't we
running
all?
and I was ru- I was running and falling on my ass. I mean,
I'm the same way, man. I want to do that
and
too. I,
I
I I run before I can walk. It's
and,
just
and
human nature.
I burned two of these, man. So,
Ah, I know it. I know it. It's a horrible
but
feeling when that happens, but you know what? It's a learning experience. Kind of an
and it's a
expensive
rite of
learning
and
experience, but you
it's
know,
expensive learning experience. Yeah,
it's an
and
expensive learning experience, but
and Anthony, Space Windu, man. God bless him. I love him, man. I really love him. I
oh,
love all you guys too. I love all you guys too. But he told me,
he's great.
Mundo, it's a rite of passage. If you don't burn a board, you're not gonna learn anything.
And
You
he's
know.
so right.
And so I'm like, okay, I spent $200 here, and that's a heavy learning experience right there.
It really is. It really is. I think that's why research comes that the research comes into play. Do your research, make sure that you have all the proper tools, the proper insight, so that you can continue and do these things, because it
Mhm.
does. I'm not going to lie. It gets on. It honestly, it gets expensive. If you keep blowing boards and doing this and do that, it's going to throw you off, and you're going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like it anymore and stuff. You don't want to. You want to try and avoid that feeling, because your
Right.
objective is to get to where a lot of other people are, swinging that saber, making the sound, and showing the lights off. And don't let that discourage you. Just take your time, do step by step. If you don't know something, let me tell you something. There's thousands of tutorials out there that will help you. If one of us
Thousands.
doesn't have it, somebody else is going to.
And one of the things that I find also fascinating, really, honestly, is that if you're utilizing these tutorials, okay, you're eventually going to learn something, whether it be good or bad. You know, you're going to learn something in your research, especially if you're using both the combination of the manual and the videos, right? Which is what I do. I go back and forth. If there's something I don't understand, if I can't find the answer within the book, If I can't find the answer within the video, then yes, I am gonna ask one of my friends, one of my friends who are installers, and ask them, hey, can I do it this way? Is this way gonna work? And they will, because I have already an idea of how I'm gonna do things, they can tell me, yes, that's gonna work, or no, that's not gonna work, because I've already done my, what I think would have worked, right? But I'm not sure myself. So if you're
Right.
not sure of yourself, ask somebody,
Oh yeah.
before you try it. Because if it has to deal with wiring on the board, ask somebody before you actually do that. Because then, yeah, you will avoid burning up your board. And that way, you've done the proper thing, right?
Yeah.
And you will have a great experience doing it that way.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jim says, I've been fortunate not to blow a board, but have knocked a component off and had a friend help solder it back on. Jim,
Yeah.
I've actually knocked a couple of components off boards, and I've actually soldered them back on, and it worked. Thank God
Same
it
here.
worked. You know,
Same here.
but
Oh,
but that's after I've blown two boards, man. I even took some components from some of the blown boards right here. So in
I do
case
that
I
too. I
ever
love
have to
doing that.
replace,
Yep.
in case I ever have to,
Especially the power section, because that's usually the one that just goes done.
really.
Yeah.
So
That
that's
like
why
that
I
one
keep
big
them around.
fat. Yeah, that one big fat resistor there by the power, that yellow one, that's the one that really is the killer. Yeah, once that goes, it's over. The whole board heats up, and there's some trouble ahead.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, there's
So,
yeah, I've done a lot of testing with these things on my own, since I did happen to blow a couple of those myself, along the way, but those were only on
mhm,
self tests, and I'm pushing the limits. I'm not doing like the average, one blade installer. So I'm pushing the limits of the board, like, doing like a lot of lighting and all kinds of stuff. So that's my thing. I just like to push the limits and the boundaries and see what I can get out of it, and then it's basically
I
going to
think you
tell you.
actually have to. I think you actually have to push the limits of a board just to see how far you can go without burning it up. You know, in terms of getting a super above average experience with that board. You know.
Yeah, no, you're right. And not to say that you have to keep doing that, but I'm just saying at one point in your life you might want to just take that board and go, "Hey, I'm going to load this thing up to the max and see what it does." Most of the suppliers and the makers will tell you what it will and what it won't do, right off the
Hmm.
bat, and they also will tell you what it's going to do, because a lot of these things are open source. A lot of these boards are open source. So basically,
Right.
anything is game with a little bit of code rewriting. I'm not a code guy. I'm starting to learn it more and more as I do blade styles.
Hmm.
I'm getting more proficient in that. Coming up with what people want, because obviously I'm doing custom sound fonts too. So I have to be able
Hmm.
to match my sounds with a style, and that's usually what I try and do. And again, learning experience, learning curve. I didn't know how to do styles before. I was always like, oh, well, this thing automates everything, so I'll just grab one of these. But in actuality, now that the new apps are coming out with the tutorials, including on top of it, they give you a complete mapping on how to do things now, and it's like we were talking before. It's visual. So I'm really
Hmm.
thinking I'm going to push the visual thing probably all night tonight, but it's a serious
No,
it's
that's
a
good.
serious point. It's a serious point because I like visual too. I think I do more visual learning than I do actually reading in some cases, because they're already showing you. It's already they're laying it out there.
Hmm.
Scott Carpenter 1.21. I know you like that. That font's pretty cool. I love my font. It's a
I
fun
love
one,
it
man.
too. Scott,
You don't want to
welcome.
put one point. We don't want to put 120 point gigawatts in a board, though. That'd be kind of masochist, right?
Scott, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for joining us,
Yeah,
dude.
man. Cool to see
We
you.
love to have you here, dude. We love to have you, man. And anybody else who decides to come on and wants to chime in,
Yeah,
certainly come on in and have a good time. That's what we're here for, dude. We
absolutely,
are
man.
we are
I
here
love doing
having
this show. It's
fun.
so much fun, man. We have a great time and we talk about real things. It's like real people, what people really want to know about things, and I think it's great that this is more, here we are. It's like a tutorial itself, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's a tutorial within a tutorial.
Exactly. I love it, man.
You know,
This is how we do it.
right? Another great person that I love watching too is Stephen Powell. He does
Oh
the
yeah.
profi configs, right? Um, and you know who else is really proficient in the profi as well? Um, is JAB, man, Jedi
Oh.
Arms Dealer,
Oh yeah,
JAD.
yeah. Yeah.
And my God, I mean, I love that guy, dude. I mean, he's so funny and cool too, man.
Don't forget about
You know,
Brian Connor, man. Brian Connor's like right in there, man.
exactly.
He's a very smart guy, I mean, he's I can't even tell you how many times he's helped me out with questions, because that I always go to the ones who would give me the answer if I like I said, like you guys say, if you can't find it on the tutorial, you got to go to the source. So, like I'll
I'm
go to the
glad you
Crucible a
mentioned him.
lot. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned him because actually I did not get to look at some of his videos in doing my research for tonight's show.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah. He's
And
yeah, he's something else. I always asked him for a lot of help with blaze styles and things like that. How do I convert this? But some things we couldn't talk about because they aren't ready. Like things that aren't ready wouldn't probably be
mhm,
the best bet to test it on anything because you wouldn't get the experience that you'd want. So
mhm,
usually the finalization of these codes and stuff is the best time to grab it. For sure.
right.
Saber's not a saber without magic smile. Oh man. Oh, or the infamous tone when something just totally goes wrong and then Profi just screams at you like, ah.
You know,
I've had
when
that
I see
happen. It's
that,
like, oh.
oh my God, every time, when I saw that smoke one time, I was like, I started thinking, my head went to Puff the Magic Dragon automatically. It was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell happened? And then I hear the song, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah. Definitely, man. Oh,
Oh my
yeah, and
God. I
the
tell you
batteries
what,
could
you
do
know
that
what?
too. Those
Yeah, I
batteries
was
are
all like,
oof.
I was like, God damn. It said like I might as well just light up a damn joint. I have never smoked weed, but I was like, damn, I better start smoking some weed because it's like shit. I might do a better job of it. I might do a better job of my installs.
Well, it does take
Oh
some
my
sort of
God.
relaxation and concentration. You got to have your little mood. You got to be in your little zone. I, I, I,
Yeah.
I will not deny this. I always play music when I'm installing. I have music in the background every single time I do it, whether it's Star Wars music, whether it's any kind of space music. I just enjoy it a lot, and it puts me in the mood to do it. A lot of
This
fun.
guy. Oh my gosh. It's funny. Another sealing
Yeah.
wax on hand. Wow. Speaking of, man, I tell you what, man, check this out. And I don't know if you guys can see, but I got
Oh,
those
there it
magnets
is.
in them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's
So we'll
great,
see how they
man.
work out.
All right,
So
yeah, you
that
got to do a
was,
video on that too. By the way, don't hesitate. Do a video on that.
yeah, I'm taking pictures as I go along every step. Okay.
Great.
And so for those people who don't know that this saber right here is called the balance. Okay. And so this for the new people who don't know. This is a memory hilt for my father. Okay, he passed away several years ago. I did an install on a memory hilt for my best friend who passed away from brain cancer. now I'm doing one for my father, and sadly, I do not have his voice anywhere. But I'm going through some old videos in terms of like Christmas and stuff like that to see if I can find. Oh, thank you, Jim. To see if I can find his voice and maybe download, get his voice that way. And then uh, he used to, when he used to see me, he would say, "Hey, Jackson," uh, you know, or Bumper was my nickname for him when I was little. So if I can get a hold of some of those little snippets of audio and put it on this saber as boots, that's gonna be that's gonna be the topping on the the icing on the
That's
cake there.
nice. That's awesome, man.
So
That is awesome.
yeah, and so, of course, I'm going to have the balance as the sound font, but I've got some of your fonts that I know that are going to fit this really, really well, and I can't wait to put them on there. So,
Oh, maybe we can
and
make a
I'm gonna
custom one together too. You know what I mean? From scratch. I think we
that's
should do that for
that's
that.
that's another thing that I was going to talk to you about later on. Yes, after this is done. Yeah, that's another
Oh
plan of
yeah.
mine. You beat me to
Telling you,
it,
those are
but
my
yeah.
sorry, man. Those are my favorite though. I can't stop talking about that kind of line of
Oh yeah,
of
yeah. No, talk about it. See, and let's get into the custom font sound tutorials because you know, in watching some of these tutorials, I don't see any font makers actually showing how they do certain fonts, except for Grayscale. I've seen Grayscale make some, right? He's made a few, but for the majority of font makers,
mm,
they show what they've already done.
that's
They
right.
haven't shown the process of a
Yep.
start to finish font making tutorial, right? So you have information in manuals, you have information in books and stuff like that, but
Yep.
and you don't have is and I've not seen because I've actually gone through a lot of tutorials. Now I've seen tutorials. Um, I've seen tutorials on putting sound fonts on your sabers.
Hmm.
That is phenomenal. People need to know those things on proper way to put sound fonts on their lightsabers if they don't already know, right?
Right.
Now, on top of that, um, let me see here. I think I've skipped a page that I wrote down. On top of that, oh, I guess not. Okay. So on top of that, though, I have not seen any proficient rigor, and I kind of understand why, and I hope in people understand why as well, because so much competition with sound fonts, and I think some sound font makers decide, in as good as they are, you know, um, Grayscale, you got Kyberphonic, I mean, Jesse, I mean, you got a lot, Wanted, you got all of these sound font makers, including yourself, right? But the lack of showing how to actually make a sound font in itself, because it takes so long to make one, depending on the type of sound font it is,
That's right.
um, there's not enough time. And I think this is the main reason as well, because you guys are so busy, not only with your personal lives, but on top of everything else in between. Um, yeah, it's a kind
Well,
of a unique club, Jim, but
I have addition to that, and I would like to say that it is more of an audio engineering tutorial.
mhm.
Because I'm an audio engineer. I've been an audio engineer for over 30 years. I've been doing this since I was in my 20s, and I've done a lot of of headlining bands. I was on the mixer a lot. You know, I had my own recording studio for a while, and I still create music and do all that stuff on the side. But I really think this falls into the category of audio engineering. And
Hmm.
in order to learn how we make the fonts and how we do things, it would probably fall in that category because there are skills that you need to isolate in order to create these selection of files. It's and you're right. There is a lot of competition, including myself and all that stuff. But I don't think that's the main reason. I think the main reason is that it's an audio engineering issue. Not an issue, but it's a tutorial about how to actually put sound into a software. Like say you get you know, a big most popular one right now is Audacity because it's free and you can, you know, do
Right.
a lot of different things with it. But, you know, for engineers like myself and you know, like Kyrophonics and KSIT, they have, you know, we have operational software that we like to use. We have certain, you know, picks and chooses of different, you know, sounds that we like to use. And and many different, you know, styles of that. So you know, for us to actually show something like that, it probably wouldn't benefit any of us on a scale of giving a tutorial because it's an audio engineering thing. It really, you know, anybody can really pick that up as a tutorial and learn how to do a sound font.
Hmm.
You know, Audacity, if you learn how to use Audacity, you basically learned how to put sounds on there and to how to export everything and you can basically do it within the realm. But you
See,
know, and
I,
like I said, it's a creative thing though too. You know, I mean, we we're not just putting sounds down there. We're thinking about this topic of what we're going to make all day long. You know, and what does that specific font mean to me? You know,
mhm.
what sound am I going to use? How am I going to portray this so that everybody's going to go wow? So I think it's a more of a personal preference, and it's an audio engineering um, tech you know effort.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be like the common denominator as well because everybody, yeah, Scott, exactly. Love those guys too, man. You know, the common denominator of being audio engineers that I've seen as well because of a lot of things that come into sound and play and I'm going to take grayscale for example, right? And
Hmm.
yourself. So you two guys, you know, when you make a sound font and grayscale has showed where he'll say, "Hey guys, you know, I'm working on this kind of font. What do you guys think? You know, I'm gonna do this. I recorded this sound, so do I take a little bit of this reverb and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that? What do you
Right,
guys think? You know,
right,
and then he comes out with an end product later on.
right.
However,
Which is
you
cool, by the
know,
way. That's a
yeah.
great addition to like a live tutorial where you know you would say, "Hey, we're gonna make a sound font today, guys. You know, you and I, let's take that ride together." That kind of stuff, I could do that all day long. But you know, for custom sound fonts, I'm basically working with the client. So
Hmm.
most of the time, that stuff is on a private level. Nobody wants me to share it. I can't sell it. I can't do anything. It's their font. That's it. You know, sometimes it happens to fall on on that path. But things like you just said to show how it's actually done, it's incredible. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to actually do. I could do one of those too and say, hey, come on a ride with me and let's make this crazy sound font. You know, tell me what you guys think, and all of a sudden the chat would be blasting with all different kinds of you know, ideas and stuff, and that could work. You know, that can also
Yeah,
work.
absolutely. Absolutely. Scott, for your question, yeah, pretty much, man.
Or a
Until
Mac,
they
you
actually,
know.
yeah, I mean, pretty much until the technology gets to the point where you can do it from your phone, which I highly doubt that, you know, I highly doubt that that will kind of come into play right now. Um, I mean, it's possible, but if you really don't want the corruption or anything like that to happen with your sound font, it's best to use a computer because I tell you, for myself, what I do is that when I download a sound font, I actually download the sound font from my phone. And then what I'll do is I'll upload it from my phone into my computer. And oh, you got a phone only? Uh,
It's
you
possible. It's
know,
possible to
it
download
is
and to,
possible.
but right now there's no real base. Like you can't like well
Yeah,
actually there might
it's a
be a
little
possibility
harder.
that you could do it with Golden Harvest 4. There might be a
Yeah,
possibility that's a Wi-Fi selection. So if you have the files in your phone, I think those attributes are coming out more and more on a daily basis now. So all the other boards will probably wind up eventually catching up to that, maybe having a mobile app that you can hook up your cable
yeah,
to and do it, or Wi-Fi via Wi-Fi. You know,
yeah. I mean, it's really difficult right now to do it. But like I said, because I download my fonts onto my phone and I keep them on my phone, but in the long run, what I have to do is upload them to my computer or my laptop, actually. So if you have a laptop, I mean, you don't have to have a desktop, but if you have a laptop, run them into the laptop and then do it that way because you won't
it's a
have to
lot
worry
easier to
about it.
categorize things too, because your phone could get lost,
Yeah,
your phone could shut off, your phone could get corrupted, updates, all these things. You know, if you have a
all
database
of those
on your
things.
computer, yeah,
And like I said, even though I have some of those fonts on my phone, I actually copy them onto my laptop right away because that way I have several copies of everything. And I'm hoping I can actually get another tower. I'm looking into another tower right now as well, a 4 terabyte tower, so that I could actually take two of my 2 terabyte towers and turn those into sound fonts towers only. So that way I have all of my tutorials, I have all of my sound fonts, I have all of my I have all everything that I actually need for Saber stuff into my 2 towers of my 2 terabyte towers. And then the rest of everything else will go into my 4 terabyte tower,
right,
pictures and videos and everything else that I have. Oh, you're
yeah,
welcome, Scott. As a matter of fact, I am glad you asked, and that's what this channel is about, man. It's Saber questions, Saber tutorials. Everything that if we can help you, man, we're more than welcome to help you. That's why it's called Saber, Saber Talk. So.
right.
And we're here to have fun with it, man. So keep your mind, take your mind, and be at ease and have fun. And whatever questions you have for us, come on. Anytime I do this on a Sunday, come on to the show, man. Come on and let's talk Sabers, dude. We'll help you out.
But I
We'll help you out.
but I think like the apps and stuff, you know, the apps and stuff will get better. You know what I'm saying? It
Hmm.
will eventually, you know, it will eventually come to a point where, you know, you could just do everything on your phone and you know, and enjoy the experience that way, you know. Especially now with Bluetooth and stuff like that. You know, like with the Force Sync app and all those things, you could do a lot of things to control it, but so far, you know, if it's not Bluetooth passable, it's probably never going to be, because Wi-Fi is a better, you know, it's a better source of that. As far as I know, I don't think they'll be able to do anything to transfer through Bluetooth at the moment. I haven't done
Yeah.
any, my research quite yet on that, but um, but
I
I
mean,
think the
eventually it'll
Wi-Fi
come.
situation is going to be good. Yeah, maybe. I don't know it. I don't know the capabilities of that Bluetooth, you know, that Bluetooth chip that we always get, you know, and it's possible that it could do something, but I'm not sure yet. But transferring
Yeah,
audio
because
from a
the
phone
phone.
right now is it's not going to
Yeah,
be
because
too
it
great.
doesn't. The phone is capable of a lot of things, but you really don't have the capability like a laptop or a computer does.
Well, wait
Basically,
a minute.
what
You
it
know what? I
gives
made
you.
a mistake. Hold on. I made a mistake, and I want to correct myself right now. Xeno 3 does it through Bluetooth.
Oh, do they?
you can take your files and you can transfer files through through your phone with their app. As a matter of fact,
Hmm.
that's I've tried it. I've tried it once before, and it seems to work pretty good. Like yeah, I forgot to mention that. I totally I was in the back of my head. And I was like, wait a minute, I was doing that just the other day. You could transfer files, I believe, or you can move them around within the app.
Hmm.
But again, the Golden Harvest 4 is doing that right now through Wi-Fi with ease. Is from what I've heard from a lot of
Cool.
people. Yeah.
That's
And that's
cool,
what they
man.
want. That's what they wanted. They wanted, hey, I can't do this through my computer. I'm not home. What if they're at a Comic-Con or something and they want to do it really quick? You know what I'm saying? That they either have to
That's the way it
pre-program
seems.
their stuff before they leave, right? Or, get a board that
Mhm.
has that capabilities. Now I'm not siding with anybody. All I'm just saying is it's an obvious and
Mhm.
unbiased answer to the question of that.
Well, Scott says he has a Xeno 3 RGB and
Yeah.
NeoPixel.
Yep. Yep.
So
And supposedly it has that
it,
capability of doing some font transfers. I'm pretty sure because I used to download the stuff right to my phone, and then you can bounce it right back up. So I think the technology is there. It may just not be that fast, and may
mhm.
not be exactly as accurate as when you plug it into your PC, because the PC is, or your Mac is definitely superior to that as of now.
and
As of
as of right now, yeah. Scott, and I can't really talk on Xeno a whole lot because I have no I have no experience with Xeno whatsoever, man. Maybe eventually in the future I might try one. Um,
they're
right
good
now
boards. They're
I
pretty good.
are they? I do want to.
Yeah, they're pretty good boards. They're fun.
Uh, okay. Well, it looks like I might have to try one just to try it
Yeah.
out. So,
They've come
like I
they've come a
said.
long they've come a long way since the V2s and stuff. The V3s are pretty impressive. They got the Bluetooth built in and all that,
Hmm.
and you can control it with the app, and you don't need a separate Bluetooth chip. It's really really impressive. It's pretty impressive for the price point. It's nice.
Here's and I have to admit, like I said, I haven't dealt with them at all. So, I want to find what is the price point for the Xeno board. Do you know?
I don't know if we should be. I don't know if we could talk about the prices on here, but
Um,
it's comparable. I don't want to I
comparable.
don't want to
Okay.
it's comparable to the other
Okay.
boards. Maybe a little less. But
And in between price, let's go
it's
this route. Is it?
it's
It's
maybe on the
between.
lower tier. It's on the lower tier, but it's of the price point. But it's
Okay.
it's favorable. It's something that you can
So it'd be
purchase no
about.
problem.
So would it be about let's say about the golden harvest price somewhere around there, closer to that?
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe a little less than that, something like that.
Hello.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, you're talking probably a little less than Profi boards now. You
Hmm.
know, but
Oh wow.
without mentioning the actual price of it, because I don't
Price.
know if
Okay.
we should or not. But it's an up and coming board. It's got a lot of things that are cool with that particular board. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. So,
Oh, I know, right?
my dream. Here's my dream for every soundboard is to do away with the SD card. Just do away with it. Put a process and put a memory chip on there that can handle, a couple of gigs. I mean, it will eventually will come, but that's my dream. I would love to see the SD cards just go bye bye. Because there's so much potential without an SD card. There's so many, and you'd speed up the accuracy probably tenfold without that thing. Because it has to go through so much transfer. According to my own opinion. Somebody may say something different, but from what I've seen,
Mhm.
I believe that a direct chip or a memory chip would be quite much a lot faster and a lot better, um, response times. Um, and I think
That
I
would
think
make
that's
it.
something that should be thought of.
I think that would make it really ideal, though, too. In
Yeah.
terms of not always. because you wouldn't actually have to open your Saber all the time, right? Um,
Not with the technology
unless
they're coming out with. You'd never have to touch it. All you'd have to do is go on your phone and boop, 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 and you're done. No SD cards, no anything, no fooling around with that. Losing it, dropping it, doesn't lock in. There's always
right,
those potentials. Especially when you're dueling. Those SD cards don't always stay in there. I do know that a couple of the boards do have the locking SD type that it pushes and clicks, which is great, by
yeah,
the way. And I think they thought of that in advance because they know how fragile and how fast that thing could just go pew right across the room. And I've done it,
right.
you know. Um, but it would be great not
You
to have an
know
SD card.
that, but it would also be a double-edged sword too, because for those people who would want a removable chassis, right? Well, but then again, it might. It just depends. For those who want a removable chassis and you have all the greeblies in there,
Mm.
and you don't have to mess with the SD card, right? Now, if that microchip actually burns out, you're shit on luck. I mean,
Well, if that
you
burns out,
know,
then the whole board's
you
useless.
get
But
a board.
still, I think that it would be beneficial, to have it on the board, And to be honest with you, with a proper install, I will just put it that way, with a proper install, proper voltage, proper wiring, all that stuff, I don't think you'll ever have a problem. I have a Profi in one of my my Sabers. It's a 2.2. I've had it in there for years. I've never touched it,
Hmm.
never done anything. Everything's working great. No shocks,
That's the metal one.
no that's my actually that
The
was
cross guard.
probably
Is it the
my
cross guard?
nope, it's not the cross guard. It's the first one that I ever built by hand. It was that
Oh,
really ugly
yeah,
saber, you know what I mean? It
yeah,
has three
that one.
buttons. Yeah, yeah. So
That one.
it's been in
It's
that
still
saber.
great.
Yeah. And guess what? It still has the original battery that I put in it, and it's still fine. I mean, everything is
Oh
working the
my
way it
god.
should. Yeah. I mean, I could light it up today and it's bright as hell and it'll work perfectly. If it's a
You,
proper install, you did your education, you did it right, you can't fail. I mean, it's still there. I have proof. I mean, if I have to do a video, I will. But and actually, I did because I had a test on my channel, on my YouTube channel. You could see all that stuff that I did a couple of tests, maybe a couple of weeks back on each, and hey, it's still here. You know,
uh-huh.
so never be afraid to try anything. But yeah,
and
but my
and that's
dream is
one
to
thing. You have to
see it
you have
by
to
SD card.
try things.
You
Yeah.
do, you
You
do,
have to try things. You have to try
you
things. I mean,
do.
because you can't really advance yourself if you don't try things, right?
Yeah,
Just just
yeah.
just like with these magnets, man. I was thinking of, of course, using, the little regular buttons
Oh
like
yeah,
this,
yeah. Those are great.
and they,
I use those all the
you
time.
know, but they wouldn't necessarily work for this build because they
No,
would be too long. They would be too long,
that's
and
right.
the chassis, I would have a difficult time getting it out. So
Right,
in order
right.
to remedy that, I had to use these magnets, right? So like I said, people, you gotta think outside the box sometime.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
and like he said, try things, right? Um,
Yeah.
Jim says, Pixel Core 85, SN4 60, Golden Harmony 60, Profi Core
And those are
85.
the cores, by the way. Those are not the
Yeah,
actual individual boards. So the cores, yeah,
right,
you're gonna, all those price points are going to be very different because you're dealing with different companies, different cores, different material, different
right,
speakers, all that stuff. So those price points definitely will be variable. But my conversation was just about the board itself, just the PC board
right.
itself, and
Yeah.
and and once you start getting into the installs, you'll see those price points differ, especially when you add products like other people's speakers
Hmm.
and LEDs and NeoPixels and all that stuff. Then
Hmm.
the cost definitely adds up. You know,
Now, have you seen the eccentric artisan?
no, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, the eccentric artisan. I tried to get him on the show. He says he's a little busy for the show right now, and hopefully I can hold out. One of these days he'll come on the show with us. But until then,
Yeah.
you know, um, and then says a continuous discharge matter as well. Is a continuous discharge matter as well?
Yeah,
I would
it
say
does.
so, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you want your lithium ion batteries go until they can't go anymore, and then they will just completely shut down. And that's due to the protection circuit in there. So you just want to, you want to make sure that the battery is charged. You also want to make sure that you're using the proper charger because you can kill the life of the battery overnight. I mean, it is that
Hmm.
fast, you know. And so he was also asking about 15 amp. 15 amp batteries, yeah, they're great for neopixels. If you got a 30 amp, you'd probably have a lot longer running time. Um, so the higher the amperage, the probably better it is, and continuous would definitely help. And he's
Yeah.
also said about lipo battery. Lipo batteries, they go until they're totally done. The lithiums will go until they can't go anymore, and then they'll shut up. A lipo battery just has a complete, it has a voltage cutoff so that it will not destroy the battery. So let's say it's like 1.5 amps left or something like that, it'll shut off and you'll
Hmm.
have to go and charge it. Like lithium will just keep going and going until it goes that, and your blade just flickers and all that stuff, and then it finally goes, and then that's it.
And you're done.
So
Get
yeah,
a new
but
battery.
I like that. I like the lithium because it gives you everything it's got until the very end. You know what I'm saying? It
Hmm.
gives you everything it has, and in this community, in this saber world, that's what you want. You know.
Absolutely. Going back to the eccentric artisan, man, I tell you, he doesn't do just sabers, but we're only going to talk about saber part that he does, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but he actually does a great tutorial on from a start to finish video of building a lightsaber. He also has a great video on doing blades as well.
Right.
So, for those people who want to jump around with the different ways of doing things, like I said, different tutorials, but you'll see people doing, these tutorials are almost the same way of doing certain things as well, right? But you might see somebody doing, the blade this way, the blade that way. Oh, you're welcome, man. You may see, like I said, different people have different ways of doing things.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you want to learn, and you're learning from different people, and then you're gonna find your way of doing the things that you want to do your way, right?
That's right.
Um, uh, Another great example is like when
Keep
I was
talking. I'll be
starting
right
out
back. I
with,
got to go check something. Keep talking. I'll be right back. I'm
sure.
not gonna. I still hear you, but I'm gonna go.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and another great person that I absolutely love getting into watching the tutorials was KR Sabers, right? Everybody knows who KR Sabers is. You got to know. I mean, if you're in this hobby, you know who KR Sabers is, right? Chet, what's up? What up, my friend? Um, so KR Sabers, really, really paved the way for a lot of things as well because everybody really loved his tutorials on blade making and wiring and this and that, uh, and then showing certain facets of his work of what he's wiring up and everything else on in between that, right? And you have to appreciate the time that it takes for some of these installers and font makers and everybody else in between. You have to appreciate the time that they take the time out of making these things to
Sorry
do
about
the
it.
tutorials to help us out, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I was
Hey,
talking
Chet.
about
How are you,
KR.
man? Sorry, I had to disappear for a second. I'm checking my print. I'm always working, so that's the story of my life.
It never ends, right? It's a
Never ends, man.
never-ending
Are you?
story.
Even on a Sunday fun day, man, I'm having fun. So there we are.
I'll drink to that.
Oh yeah, you bet.
But
But yeah, I heard you.
it,
But heard what you talk about KR Sabers and stuff. Oh yeah, they've been around, man, for a long, long, long time, man. So
oh yeah, and Cal, I mean, God bless him, dude. I mean, so young, but and now
yeah,
he's such a titan in this industry, right? Um, I love the fact that the way he showed how to wire up certain things, the way he wired up a blade to show his way of doing a blade making tutorial. Uh, so when I watched blade making tutorials, I watched him and Rob in between, and I was like, my God, two different ways of doing things, right? Because if you notice, some of these installers and some of the tutorials, you'll hear them kind of say, "Well, you could do it this way, but I don't think it's necessary. You could do it that way, but you could get away with doing it this way." And it was like, "Oh shit!" They're going back and forth. They were like, "Okay."
yeah,
A little competition doesn't hurt anybody, right? Yeah, and it's good, clean fun though too. I mean, nobody's getting after anybody. Nobody's saying your way is the bad way or your way is wrong. No, nobody's doing any of that mess. And and that's what I really kind of like and enjoy too is the healthy competition of things. But
yeah,
it's not just one way of doing things either. And you're going to hear me mention that as well continuously because in this hobby, there is so many things, so many tutorials, so many ways of doing things that sifting through everything that you're going to watch, everything that you're going to do, everything that you're going to learn is repetition. Bottom
yeah,
line, bottom
yeah.
line is repetition. Okay.
That's right.
If you're not willing to soldier so many wires, you may not get proficient in great soldering skills. If you're not
It,
willing
it
to,
yeah, it takes a lot of it takes the self effort. It make you need you pick one thing. What are you interested most of all? Like let's say, all right, I'm not into building, but I want to buy sabers and I want to make blade styles all day. Or I want to make sound fonts all day for it. You have to determine what you are going to want to learn about that day. You know what I'm saying? And stick with it. It's just not one day. Oh, I'll turn the video off and then I'll go do my thing, and then a week later come back and go, oh no, I forgot what I just did. You know, and those kind of things are because number one, you didn't just pick something that you were going to focus on for that day. If you're really into the business and you really want to do it, you need to focus on that one pinpoint, and then you build like building blocks, like I was talking about before. It's really important to get the basics down, and there are, like I said, tons of videos on basics on how to do like audio engineering or blade styles or things like that. So all you got to
Mhm.
do is pick one topic and stick with it, and you're going to see that it's going to become real easy. Like everybody thought Profi board, and like a lot of people still think that Profi board is pretty hard thing to do. I also thought it was very hard to do in the beginning too. I was like, oh man, I've got to learn this software. I've got to write this code. I mean, I'm missing commas, I'm missing quotes, I'm missing all kinds of stuff. What am I doing wrong? And I was always asking until I finally watched those tutorials and I started reading, because there's a whole list of step by step by step by step that you cannot go wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody's technically inclined and they're going to understand every aspect of what the list means, but start from the number one. Let's say get this software. So get the software, learn it, understand what it means, how it works, and it's all part of patience and repetition.
Hey, and the Jedi has, hey, everything is patience, you know. If you want a
Yeah.
good quality saber, if you want good quality sounds, if you want good quality blade styles, not only do you have to do your homework, but at the same time, be patient about things. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, um, in this day and age, I find that, and this is more or less not, the younger people, the younger generation. I mean, I'm already old, and I could be wrong, but
I'm too.
the younger,
I'm old
the
too.
young, the younger generation has the lack of patience. They want this now. I want it now. I don't want it later. I want it now. Give it to me,
Yeah.
all of it now. You know,
Yeah.
there's no
I
step
understand
by
that.
step for them. Like either
Yeah.
I have it all or I don't want it. Period.
And there's another side to
And
that story though too. I hate to see people getting frustrated. I hate to see people just throwing it out the window and going, "Ah, I'm done." You know? So
yeah,
where is that breaking point lie with me? Like how far would I go to let them not have to worry about things, you know? And I'm going to tell you, I won't let them go down with the count. I'm going to help them and I'm going to teach them if they have a question for me. I say always get with me in private. You know, deal with me either via by email or message chat or even you can even call me if you have to, you know, and then we can go over step by step things. I don't let anybody go down with the ship. So, you know, I'm always there to give advice or to help or to do whatever needs to be done. You know, it may not be out there on YouTube videos and it may not be out there on my Facebook page or my website or whatever, but it will be there if asked. So that's something that
and
I can always offer, you know, if
and
I
that's
know it.
great, man. Yeah, and that's absolutely, and that's one of the things that we absolutely love within this community, because there
Oh,
are
yeah.
always avenues like that. You know, uh, and like I said, some people they get impatient, but what they don't understand is, hey, you are not alone. You can get help, but you do have to do some things for yourself too. You if you really want a great experience, you do have to learn some things, and there's a lot of people that are willing to help you out, teach you things, show you things. And again, that's why I did this video, to show people and to showcase a lot of these tutorial videos. And as a matter of fact, and I almost forgot that there are videos out there who people who want to learn how to spin and do saber spinning tricks and stuff like that. Some of these
Right.
individuals, like Mike Starwalker and Michelle C. Smith,
Oh, yeah.
they are great people and great tutorials and great videos to watch for learning how to spin, learning how to do saber tricks, choreography, all forms, all of that stuff. So take advantage of every single tutorial out there if you're just starting out, and understand that. Uh, and Jim says that I was thinking of starting a website documenting the history and hobby. Oh, that would be nice, and then
That would be very cool. Be very
yeah,
cool.
and then that would be nice, dude. That
Yeah.
that would be awesome, dude. That would be awesome, man. You stopped me right in my tracks hearing that. Oh man, but again, going back to all of these tutorials, there's so much information, and here's the thing. All of the information is great, but if you don't take anything in because you're such in a rush, it's not going to help you. Take your
No.
time, and don't rush anything. I mean, you can't learn anything if you really rush it. Oh this, oh that, oh this, oh I gotta do, oh, ooh, that looks good. I gotta do that. I'm gonna do. No, here's the thing. You want to say, all right, I'm seeing KR Saber build a blade. Now I'm gonna watch Rob Petcow make a blade. Now I'm gonna watch this guy, eccentric artisan, make a blade. I'm going to see exactly what all three of those individuals, what how they're making their blades. And what I'm going to take away from all three of those videos is what I'm going to incorporate to make my own blade, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
Even Civil Life
and it,
Sabers too. He's got a
even
wonderful
civilized
video out
sabers.
there, man. I learned back then I learned how to build a blade from him because he actually has a tutorial on how he does his blades, you know, and I think it might have been the TriStar, I'm not really sure, but it was one of those blades and he went into
Yeah,
detail
he
on
did
it.
a
So those,
TriStar.
yeah, yeah. And I actually
Yeah,
have a
Space did
TriStar
an
chip. You know, it's
amazing.
it's amazing.
Yeah, Anthony did an amazing TriStar video. So if you guys have
Yep.
not actually seen how to make a TriStar blade,
It's pretty
go to
cool,
Civil,
man.
come to Civilized Sabers and watch Anthony make that TriStar blade so that you can learn how to do your own TriStar blade if that's
Oh
what you
yeah,
want to do. And
that's right.
if you don't want to make it, and that's okay, go to the website and order one. Anthony will be more than ecstatic, and Reese too. Reese is learning from Anthony, and Reese is phenomenal at making those blades for Anthony as well. So please go by Civilized Sabers. Check out Reese and Anthony. Um, you can't go wrong with the Civilized Sabers blade because man, I tell you, to me, my personal feelings is that they are the brightest blades on the planet. And John from Collectors Outworld, he's done a video on the brightest blades around, and he will show you. He's done a full video on different companies on their blades of which one is the brightest, whether how many lumens they are, and this. I mean, he does the whole kit and caboodle to make it all fair, so you can see and make your decision on which blade you actually want to purchase.
Yep.
So,
It's all in the
uh,
research, you know, it's all in what you're willing to do for yourself, you know? I mean, because it's up to you,
yeah,
basically. It's really up to you and your choices on how you want to proceed. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
pretty
that's
cool.
and oh my gosh, we got 11 people watching, man. Dude, that's
That's awesome.
badass.
Yes. Woohoo!
Love
Oh
everybody,
yeah.
man. I'm telling you. And that's another thing. You know, it if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're just starting out, and Scott, I hope you don't mind that, I use you as an example, because I love you dearly for coming on to the show and asking these questions. It really is because to me, if James and I can help somebody like you who's starting out, that's what it's all about. Saber Talk. I want to take Saber Talk to the next level of helping people. Okay. When we help people such as yourself, then we can feel good about knowing that you're going to have a great experience within this hobby. And that's what we're here for.
And by the way, Scott's got some cool sabers. If you haven't seen him, you got to check him out on Facebook or something and follow him or whatever. He's got some cool bodies. Cool, these things are all built by him. They're like space junk sabers and stuff like that. They're great, man. He shares them with me all the time because I do the same thing. I share all my stuff over here, and then we just have a ball, just expressing each other through what we have accomplished and what we created, and that's like
I'm gonna
awesome.
have to check them out. Now
Oh,
you got
you
me curious.
got
I'm gonna
to.
have to check them out.
Oh, you have to. I mean, I'm telling you, they are unique. They are all unique. So it's very cool, And like I said, there's tons of makers out there, tons of people who have the same, skills and same, imagination, and it's great. I love seeing all that stuff. It's
Yeah, me
fantastic.
too. Such great creativity. The creativity is endless. And when you create something special, especially if it means something special to you,
Oh, absolutely.
um,
I could tell you
whether
they're
it be
very
this,
special to him because he makes a point of that, and they are, and that to me portrays feeling about the community and the hobby and what it means to them, and if they express it like just like you with your father, when you're going to be
Mhm.
building that saber, it's the same exact thing. It means something to you deep inside, and I think with that feeling, everything else is just going to fall into place, whether it be knowing how to build something or knowing how to audio engineer something. Just take your pick. There's so much out
Exactly.
there, it's endless.
It is. It is absolutely endless. And and I think one some I hate to say this, but some of the misconception when people are starting out is that it it seems easy, and to a point it is. Okay, to a very large portion point, it is easy. But when it comes to the building and everything else that comes in between it, it is not without its hurdles. Every saber is unique. Every saber has its own hurdle to go over. Um, whether you buy a KR sabers, whether you buy from anywhere else, any other saber maker, it doesn't matter. Whether you even have it custom made for yourself from some other unknown company, okay? Um, you are going to have hurdles with the install. If you are doing it yourself, you're going to come across hurdles that will not only increase your skill level, also it will help you in terms of um, how should I put this? I mean, you know, when you utilize all the skills and all the resources that you can come across, and again, going back to tutorials, when I was researching, I made a list of people that I was going to talk about who have tutorials: Megtooth, Eccentric Artisan, Shameen, Lando. Oh, and here's one that I forgot to mention, and I am so sorry I forgot to mention this. And Jared Owen has a video out. How does a lightsaber work? And it is a 3D rendition of of a saber, saber, by the way. And it's so
Huh,
great. You can watch it. It's not very long. It's not very long, but it's such a great video and a visualization. Um, it's such a great visualization of that saber, what's in it, how it works, and everything else in between, right?
that's
So
cool.
it is. You got to watch it if you haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen it,
Definitely.
I highly recommend watching it. So again, when you increase the amount of resources that you can utilize, whether it be the books, whether it be the tutorials that we're talking about tonight, as well as your own, let's say you're learning schematics of lightsaber wiring, okay? Um, me for when I do a certain wiring board, let's say with the CFX, okay, for example, if I want to see how the wiring goes for that board, for me, I like to print it out and print it out big so I can see the wires where they go clearly. Because again, with me seeing certain things backwards, I have to keep everything in perspective and take it low. But when I blow it up really big and I can see, and yeah, of course, I don't think. Oh, here we go. Golden Harvest board. You see this?
Oh
Look
yeah,
at that.
that's big.
See that? Yeah. I
Yeah.
printed out,
Right.
and I don't know if you guys can see, but I've written some things down in here.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Sure thing.
in pencil and stuff. See, I like to blow things up like this so that I can see where my wires are gonna go, as in I can see the board on where things are gonna go, so that I don't get myself confused where, okay, because the board is not gonna have these on here, right? But when I put this down like this on top of the board, or I can put it how the orientation of the board where I'm going to put, how the orientation of the board is going to be within the saber. I utilize these papers to help me, so that, okay, I know which wire is going where, which wires are going to hook up. If this particular wire here is not working on a certain light, okay, I need to switch it to this particular area right here, right? So those are the things that I have myself utilize along with these tutorials, and along with everything for my installs. And yes, I have not done many right now at this point, but things like this, tutorials out there, those are everything that you need in your repertoire to go ahead and have a successful install if you are installing yourself. Okay, now, even if you're not installing yourself, I do recommend that you know what goes into the install process, because to me, I feel that there are some shady characters out there. Now, I'm not saying there's a lot of them, but there are some. But to protect yourself, so you know exactly what you're getting within the install.
That's
Okay.
right. And to be
If you
perfectly
know,
honest, I always, if I'm doing installs and then before I even touch a saber, I will communicate with my client about it. What do you want in it? What do you want it to sound
hmm
like? You want it to sound big? What do you want the chassis to be? How many sound fonts do you want? Where are you getting your sound fonts from? Do you want some of mine, or do you want let's say a special speaker or a different size, whatever is able. And then what we do is we categorize all that, and then we put it into a play, and that's how that works. It's hard to it's hard to describe everything in layman's terms sometimes, because sometimes I move pretty fast. I'm always doing something, but when it comes down to an install, I just love to make sure that they know what they're getting, how to use it, and when they get it, what do they have to do when they first get it from me. Like I'll explain to them, okay, well, you pull the kill key and you press the power on button, and that's all you got to do. Or, if they want to learn programming, guess what? I send them to that tutorial because I personally don't have one. But if they want to learn it from me, they would have to be patient, take the time, and then contact me either via chat or something like that. And then I will go over more in detail. But normally I would do some videos and show, like on my YouTube channel, I will show how I've done some of the installs and how it actually works for the customer. I believe there's a couple other guys that do that out there too, so that the customer knows when they get it. You know what? They can always go back to the video and go, "I forgot what he said about that." Oh, right, he made me a video. Again, it's like a quick um, self-explanatory tutorial for yourself, basically. But yeah, I always want to keep them informed, what they know, what they're getting, and just about every single detail. There's nothing that I ever hold back, and I don't ever tend to. It's what they want, it's what they're paying for, so I believe that they should get what they pay for, and it's a very important
right.
thing.
And speaking of that, Jeremy, when he does his videos, he actually does a tutorial on how to work the
Yeah.
saber.
Yep.
And he actually shows that, okay, the blade is working, this is how it works, this is what you
Yep.
do, this is how you
Yep.
take out the chassis, this is how you put it back in. And that's one thing I love about Jeremy and Solo Sabers is
Right.
that, the amount of quality that goes into his work, right? And there's several people, especially like Tirfan Orbital as well. So if anybody of you guys out there who are not familiar with these guys, you check out their videos, and I tell you the quality of their work is phenomenal, and James as well, because James has been at this for a long time, and with Mountain Sabers. So if you don't know who James is, and you don't know who Mountain Sabers, this is Mountain Sabers right here. So again, utilize them, utilize all the resources to have a great install, to have a great Saber experience, because that's what we want. We want you to have fun with everything. I'm
Yeah.
I'm just having a blast with all my Sabers, and I tell you, um, now down the road, I tell you what, you're gonna have to fix things here and there. You might need a new board, you might need a new speaker, you might need some new buttons,
You
minor
might
things
make
to
a
fix.
mistake.
You might make a
you know,
mistake,
yeah,
you
drop it.
know.
Anything like that is possible. I've had quite a few of those incidents.
But and nobody has, when you're starting out, I can tell you, all the seasoned vets, they've been through everything and anything. So if you get discouraged and you get down because of this, because of that, talk to one of these guys. Talk to one of them. It doesn't matter who, whoever you want to
No.
go to. I mean,
Yep.
everybody's willing to help you. Everybody's willing to help you, and you know, so that way you can get it running again. You can get it fixed up again. And if you have a saber that you purchase because you're not installing your own sabers, but you're having to constantly send it back, get it repaired, and it comes back, and a few months later, it's messed up again. You know, maybe you might want to take the time to learn to do things your own. And if you want to go that route, you have choices. There's always choices. Okay.
That's correct.
Um, And then again, if you run across a company that you bought from that's constantly breaking down, go with somebody else. Do your research, check out tutorials on which company's good, which company's bad, what to stay away from, what to go with, who to go with, all of that stuff, and grab a saber from somebody who's really reputable. And I tell you, you'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Um, you want to have a good experience, go for it, man. Don't be afraid to try things either. Like I said, nobody's going to get their feelings hurt if you buy a saber, it doesn't work, and then one day you decide you want to learn how to install and reinstall it yourself. People are willing to help you. Hey, gut the thing out. You figure out which board you want to get. You buy all the materials. You purchase a chassis from Mountain Sabers or somebody else, and go from there. And I tell you what, you can't go wrong with just learning
Yep.
how things work. You'll have a great experience, because in the long run, you might want to fix your things yourself, and you'll have even. I tell you, the feeling of building one yourself is nothing compared. I mean, buying
There
one
really isn't
and
anything comparing to
and
that.
building one, they're two different things. Buying
Yeah.
one and building one are two different things. I tell you, I
Yep.
I was that kind of person. I was that kind of person until I learned myself. And I have a lot more respect for a builder, an installer now than I ever did before. Because when I first started out, I was like, oh, damn, why does it cost so much? Why is this? Why is that? Well, you know, when you start learning all of this stuff, I guarantee you will feel differently in when you start building it yourself and you start learning the prices of each component, the time it takes to build it, but the amount of joy that you get when it works the right way is exponential. I mean,
Absolutely.
the feeling is euphoric. I
Yeah.
mean, that is the best way I can explain it because I mean, when I first turned on Roy Boy and it was just like my jaw was hurting from smiling so much. I mean, I had a smile from ear to ear, and I
Yeah.
couldn't stop smiling. And I was almost crying when I pulled that kill key and I heard my friend, ¿Qué pasa, mama? Oh my God. I'm
Isn't that
all like,
great?
my brother is gonna live forever. My brother is gonna live forever because of
That's a
that
special
saber.
part. It's a special part.
You know.
And then you can,
So,
well, where is he? And then you can start building guys like him, like little BD1 here, I have him lit up I have them lit up like a Christmas tree behind me, but no sound. I muted him. But things like this, it's like it expands from other than sabers too. Like I'm in a realm where I do
Mhm.
everything. I'll print you a chassis if you have a design you want me to try and do, or if you need a chassis on the fly or something really simple. Yeah, I'll do that, no problem. I'm not just an installer or a sound font maker. I'll also make a custom stuff for you too. There's
Mhm.
no holes barred with this with this community, because people need things. If they can't get it here, they can always hit one of us up to exponentially get that stuff down, and
Right.
and send it that way. um but again, it's all
Eventually,
it's
I
all about
like to.
communication, you know what I mean?
Communication is a very huge part of it too. So,
Yeah.
um, that's one of the biggest thing in this community as well. Communication. Okay. Um, you know, when these guys do installs, when these guys do tutorials, and especially tutorials, they're communicating to you. They're communicating their skills. They're communicating what it takes to have what you want. So don't
Exactly.
take it lightly. I mean, don't take it lightly. They've taken time out of their busy schedule, whether it be regular work schedule, whether it be install schedule, whether it be sound font making schedule, to do these videos so that you may take advantage of that knowledge. Okay. Jedi's are very big in knowledge, right? Sith are very big in knowledge. You have to have the knowledge to build your saber. If you want a great and I know everybody hears me repeat myself. And the reason why I repeat myself a lot because if you are constantly going from here to here to here to here and you hear it only one time, it may not sink in. But if you're hearing it constantly, eventually it's going to sink in. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I apologize for really being repeating myself a lot, but at the same time, I'm not because I want you as either a newbie installer, a newbie, Saber enthusiast to enjoy your experience, to have fun with it. And if I have to repeat myself for that fact, I'm okay with it. I'm more than okay with it.
And
Um,
it's a good repeating, though. It's not like, a repetition because nobody's listening. It's because we want you to succeed. We want you to learn
exactly.
about the things. We want you to learn about the things that, you are unsure of, and those things are great. I think the community deserves it. I think everybody who wants to do their own thing deserves it. I mean, I did. I did my
Hmm.
own install on my own saber, and I loved it. And guess what? Here I am. I mean, I'm doing installs for a lot of people and a lot of custom work. And I don't just dabble in just the standard, oh, well, let me buy this chassis online and I'll install it. No, I actually design the chassis and print them and do all the installations and create something special for that person. It's not just, and there's, like I said, a lot of other people do it. Solo Sabers does it. He makes a lot of great, amazing stuff, I should say, because, he's
Hmm.
got that detail down, and that's what people want. And so do I. I have all the different things that people would love to see. But it's all about, like we said, communication. What do you want? What do you want out of this? What do you want to see? How many lights do you want? Is it possible? Yes, no, maybe. What board does it fit? How big is the blade? Um, how much power is this thing going to have? There's so many variables, but it's really up to you, the person who is wielding it, because it's yours
Hmm.
for life. And it's that's the important part. So communication is key.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jim. Yeah.
Mm,
Disenchanted, I think is just bad for the hobby all the way around. People come and go in this hobby. It is expensive. It really is.
yeah.
But at the same time, you have to understand that if that's what you want, and that's what it's going to take,
But you also have to realize
you,
you'll always be covered. You know what I'm saying? Don't
hmm
get discouraged, because there's always going to be somebody
yeah,
like, myself, or let's say,
hmm
Megtooth, or somebody like that that's going to come out and go, "Hey, this somebody asked me about this, so I made a video of it." You're always going to find those little things,
those
because
videos.
those things are
Yeah,
important,
absolutely.
like I'll bring it up again, Sabertech's Golden Harvest 4. Guess what? They're doing tutorial videos. They're doing all kinds of things to get you guys to understand how the process works and what to expect, and the updates that they are doing. And again, it's all visual right now. Visual, and you're listening to what they're saying, and you're seeing all of this at the same time. So that's a very powerful
Hmm
tool. Reading is fundamental, but it's not always going to be understood by everybody.
hmm
It's going to be a little hard to understand what, the ins and outs and the numbers, and where does this go, what does that go, should this be on the SD card, should it not be, how does the Wi-Fi work, a million questions, you know
Really,
but
Kristen.
keep in mind that we'll always have you covered. These guys will always have you covered as the best of our abilities. And then if you don't learn it from us, then you either go to the source or somebody else that has experienced it more. And I always do that too. I always refer people to things that I don't know. I say,
Hmm
hey, want to make that blade style? I probably repeat myself again. Here we go. But go to FET 263, and there's a whole list. Like I said, there's all kinds of things. Or go to Tristan's. Man, Tristan's got a website, you know, a mile long about how to do things, and he has tutorials on how to create things for yourself, because this is basically a yourself project. It's you bought that saber. Now what do you do with it?
hmm
So
Yeah, and I for one, see, for me, I want to utilize each and every single saber that I have. I don't really necessarily want to keep them on the shelf silent and sitting there. Although that, yes, it is good to have a few shelf queens. Don't get me wrong,
I
but
got
I
a lot
like
of
a
shelf
nice.
queens. I don't take hardly any of mine out, which is really terrible, by the way. I really have to start. I want to start.
I
Well, I wanted
I
to start doing some videos, and I'm making something that I'm going to be able to do that with. Because I
yeah.
don't always have. I don't always have that person to like do like the play duels with and stuff. And but I'm
hmm
actually in the process of making something pretty neat for myself, that I'm going to start taking some of my sabers out, and doing some of those, showing them off a little bit, so to speak, because they've all been sitting in the shelf for quite a long time, and I think it's about time they show their
See,
face a little bit.
yeah, yeah, they have to, man. They have to because
Yeah,
it's
I'm
it's kind of like a
I'm
motorcycle
guilty.
sitting in your garage. It's like a motorcycle sitting in your garage.
Yeah, man,
You
I
have
know, I
you
know.
have it, but you don't experience the love and the joy you used to ride it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's such a great analogy because again, it's let's put it another thing. It's like a collectible car that you have, right? I used to
Oh,
have a
sure,
57.
sure.
When I was young and I was going to high school, I had a 57 Chevy, two-door hardtop, right? Love that thing, man. But it got to the point where I had to fix it up all the time, and my dad sold it. But when you have cars like that, vintage cars, excuse me, and they sit in your garage, they look pretty, but wouldn't they be so much better on the road where everybody's like, oh my God, look at
They
that.
would.
That is so cool,
They
right?
would. Yeah.
You know,
I think the value of those cars is not just letting it sit in the garage. The value is to show it off and to be proud of what you have, and there's another point to that. Though a lot of people want to protect their interest. They want to protect their, the value of the car. They don't want it to deplete. They don't want to put miles on it. They don't want to do things like that. But in the end,
uh,
it's going to be no fun sitting in a garage or on a shelf, and I
exactly.
keep saying this to myself too, and I'm like, damn it, I see that thing in the shelf, I better take it out today. And you know what I do? I really do now. Like the last time I showed you a whole bunch of sabers I was doing, and it makes you feel good. It makes it, oh well, what's the point of it sitting on a shelf? I'm throwing in blades now, and I'm using them all now because each one has its own uniqueness and its own value, to your insides. You know what I mean? It's like a classic car.
If you have a shelf queen, I highly recommend you do something like Jedi Arms Dealer did, right? Oh, excuse me. And he did a video, and he had where you could turn your saber on with I believe it was like a vehicle keychain or some shit like that. Anyway, you turn it on and it's sitting on the shelf, and you can turn it on that way. Just like you can turn yours on with your phone, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so if you're gonna have a shelf queen, have a shelf queen that you could turn on with your phone and turn it on that way and do all of
Bluetooth.
your
Yeah,
stuff, Bluetooth stuff, because you don't have to necessarily pick it up. But if you're gonna have a shelf queen that it runs and it talks and it speaks and it gives you joy just turning it on,
yeah.
right?
And it doesn't even have to be a
Because
saber. It could be something else, like this guy back here, or like I have my remote, the Jedi remote, that the training remote, and I have that's all Bluetooth, and that lit up, and then he's on a shelf, and I could just go click, and he's on, by the flip of a switch,
exactly.
and it's great. And those things are great for displays. Those are display items. You know what I mean? The saber has to be wielded. You got to have it in your hand, man. I don't know. I feel you got to have it in there.
It's
Which
funny
one is that? What
because
one is that? What one is that?
this is my PVC pipe one, man.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And
That's
I
cool.
tell you, I tell you what,
Hey, where's the switch
um
on that? Where do you have a switch on it?
well, there's no switch yet because I'm still working on it. It's
So is it
been
gestures?
it's been a work in progress. I mean,
Wow.
slowly, very
I swear
slowly.
to God, it
But
looks
here's the
metal,
thing.
man. Did you paint all that?
Yeah, I spray painted it, dude.
Dude, it swear to God, it looks metal. I didn't even realize what saber
The
it
only
was until
metal
I
part,
seen it.
the only metal part is the screw
Oh, I have the
uh
dude. That's funny that you showed me that because I have the exact same screw head. It's in sitting. I can grab it and I'll show you. I swear to God, I have the same exact one. Those are so cool. The little knurls, man.
yeah, they really are. Now, here's the thing, man. And I'm not I have the Evo Flex, and the board with it was not so great, right? So I'm not I'm not dogging that company whatsoever at all. And uh, because they're trying to make things right. They've had some challenges. Electrum Sabers, right? They've had some challenges where they had things taken from them, boards that were not done right and messed up, and everything else.
Hmm.
And he's been trying to make things right for people. And I've seen, and he's done some great tutorials on his videos as well, in terms
Yeah, he
of
does have some
putting
great
sound
stuff
fonts
on
on
there.
his board and everything else,
Yep,
you know.
yep. I had
So,
an Electrum
I
Sabers
want to
one.
reiterate
I had
that.
a really nice one too. I love the touch switch.
Mhm.
that was a selling point for me. I just bought it because I love that flip touch switch, man, on those things, and
Well,
it was a great saber.
that was my selling point too, right? And so I have the EvoFlex. I still have it, and I'm trying to talk to him and see what we can do in terms, because I really don't have any more money to spend on it, but I just do want a little something back just to make things good. I don't have to
Yeah,
have any upgrades or anything like that. But more importantly, I want to reiterate for people that I know they may be having a bad experience with him, but understand that he's got some things that happened to him that was out of his control, that because these boards did not work right, they did not do justice to what he was trying to accomplish. Um i just you know i I need people to understand that he's trying his best to make things right, so he now has gone to the Profi board for his installs, and he has done new chassis for a lot of his sabers, and is trying to make right with all the people that got gypped from those other people that basically ripped him off and
uh,
did bad things. That board, the board that he had, I think would have been great, but they kind of screwed him out of that stuff. So, um, what was it? Let me see. I think I've got it in here. Let's see. Well, he also was going to do a new Starbird board too. So that was another thing that he got screwed on. And let me get my old man goggles on here. Let's see here. The Diadium 3 core from Electrum
oh yeah,
Sabers, right?
yep. That's what I had in
So,
my board. But I'll tell you, mine worked great. I had no issues with it whatsoever. The touch switch was great. In fact, oh, you know what? In fact, here's a funny thing. I'll just say it totally honestly. I had to do. Somebody wanted to buy the saber for me because they love the body of the style of the saber. It's an older saber grab with the Dadium electric with that board that you have. So I took all the
hmm
guts out of it, took the core out of it, and put in what they wanted. But I still have the core. I still have the flip switch, and I want to use that because I love the way it was done, and it's RGB too, so it's quite easy to basically install on
yeah.
any saber. But I
So
just
when
love the way it was done.
so when I got my board, it worked for 3 days, and it didn't work anymore.
Yikes.
I sent I send it back to them,
Uh huh.
and they fixed whatever, right? I paid for the shipping back, gave it back to them. They fixed whatever, got it back, and I probably had to wait probably three, maybe about 2 months for to get it back and stuff. And when I got it back, it worked for a week, and then it was dead again.
Oh no.
And and then I tried to take it back to him, but I couldn't, you know. And I sent it back to him a second time. Well, a third time actually. They told me that nothing was wrong with it, and that it was working fine, this, and that. I got it back, and then nothing after that. So for all this time, the whole time after that, now it's probably been about 4.5 to 5 years. It's not been working, right? So, it's, it is what it is. But it's a great saber, and because he's making things right with people, I commend him for everything that he's trying to do. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of people that are dogging him for this and this and that, and
Patience.
there's a lot.
Patience.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't understand what's going on with him, on top of family life, on top of trying to make
Yeah.
things right. You know, you, you
You never
know,
know what a person
it,
is going through, but always be kind.
yeah,
You always have
exactly.
to be kind. I mean, that's a
And
saying that we all use now because you don't know what anybody's going through. You know what I mean? And if they try their hardest to rectify the situation, that's showing some serious, output towards the community. And that's all we could ever ask for. That's all anybody asks of us too. We do our best.
yeah,
We make things happen. You know.
and Dave really is trying. And some people have told me, you know, I've tried to kind of, be on his side, and people are like, oh, no, no, no. I'm all like, dude,
Yeah.
you know, be patient. You don't know what's going on.
Yep.
And if you see, if you actually knew what was going on with him, then you might understand. Yes,
And then
maybe
eventually,
he's
finally,
had.
that information will come out to the open, and it will be broadcasted so that everybody will know, but it has to be on his own time. He's actually, if you just, if you're, portraying what he's doing at the moment, then yeah, it's going to take a while for him to get up to that point and to get everything settled back in again. It's not an overnight situation, especially when you're changing over to all these boards. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big process. Changing chassis, boards, and then wiring all that to boot is not a
Hmm.
small task. So
And not only that,
it's commendable.
right. And not only that, but if he's having staff issues as well, I mean, you've got hundreds of thousands of people wanting, his stuff. But if you
Yeah,
have staff issues where people are not coming in, or they're being worked they're working so many hours that it's hard to keep up. You got
yeah,
so much demand, and you got so many workers that can't keep up with demand. Hey, you gotta, the people gotta chill out a little bit. I mean, let
a
him
little
let
bit,
him get,
a little bit.
just let him catch up with things. I mean,
Yeah.
again,
and I
patience.
and I guarantee
You
you'll
know,
find that when that happens, he's definitely going to be able to, accommodate everybody and everything. And not everybody's going to have, everything on point 100% of. There's always issues. There's always something that's going on. We have to be
right,
more understanding about that as a community because we're in it for the long haul. You know what I mean? We want these things. We want all these new technologies to come out. We want this stuff. So if we keep denying it in this way, it's going to make it a lot harder for anybody to want to keep pursuing the industry. We want to keep it going, and
right,
we want to make sure that everybody's happy. And if it takes a little time, then it takes a little time.
right.
That's perfection. Perfection isn't overnight. It
Exactly.
takes a long
And
time.
and Jim is and Jim is right. He also offers the Golden Harvest 4 now too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
So
here's because I was being impatient about things, I'll tell you. I did take that chassis a little bit and just kind of do a little something, right? Um I wanted to see if it actually would work and see how
ah,
it would come out. But
cool.
I did utilize taking that
So
certain
it
board
works.
out, right? So if you see this, yeah,
Yeah,
it actually
yeah.
kind of fits in there, right?
All right. Hold on. I'll be right
So,
back because I want to show you something. Keep talking though. I'll be right back. Hold on.
okay. So I utilized part of this and I still got to figure a few things out before I can get it to work. But I want to make sure that it's gonna fit completely in there because once I start JB welding or E6000, these parts together, that they're not gonna come off. Because once I install this thing, that's it. Yeah, it's gonna be a done deal where I can just pull the whole core out from the top here, and then I still have to do a button on here and figure all of that stuff out. But yeah, it'll get there, right? It'll get there. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. And as a matter of fact, today while I was doing my research, and I was watching James with the blasters, and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to do some blasters that I haven't worked on any blasters whatsoever. I need to work on some of those, right?" And that was like, because I was telling him about. I know you're listening, James, but I was watching your blaster
I'm
video. I'm all
back.
like, oh my God, those things were gorgeous.
The
uh,
blasters. Oh, I love the blasters. Hey,
yeah.
see if this
Uh,
see if this reminds you of anything.
oh. Yep.
I put it into one of
Wow.
my 3D print. I put it into one of my 3D printed bars. I call it. So basically,
Uh
it's like
huh.
a 3D printed plastic solid piece, and I put it all in this core, and it's still RGB because I don't
Oh
have the saber
wow.
anymore. Remember when I said I wanted to use the
Hmm.
core in the electronics? Well, here it is.
Yeah.
Let me see. I bet you if I turn it on, it should light up. Let's see if it lights up. Hold on. The switch is a little kind of small in here, but I know it'll work because I kind of saved it. Let me see if I might have to use.
Hmm.
Hold on. I might have to get my little tool to get in there, but oh, here it is. Let me see if the switch. I want to see if the switch still lights up though, because remember, this is the original battery. This is original everything in here, and I kept it all original.
Hmm.
Look at that. Look at that. Wham!
Oh, look at that.
And then my favorite part. Wait. Oh, it's the other way. Hold on. I gotta remember which way. How do I do it again? Hold on. It's one of these ways. Unless I touch them both. I forgot how to do it now because I remember. Oh, there it is. It was loading.
There it is. I heard it. I heard it.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
that it?
There it is, right there.
There it is.
Just a slide switch,
Yeah.
I love that thing. It's just a touch, And there it is.
Yeah. And now I think I'm hoping I can utilize it. See, I
Yeah.
have it here. One of the wires kind of broke off, though. I need to solder it back onto there. So.
Oh yeah, that's it. But this thing is like super bright. It still sounds amazing. It's all the same speaker. In fact, I replaced the speaker with the original type because I didn't want to change
Yeah.
anything. I wanted to keep it all the same. And I absolutely, I absolutely love this thing. And it does hold the blade because I have greeblies in here. I have knurls in here that I could tighten down the blade with. So this thing
Yeah.
is pretty wild.
Yeah. And I asked Dave. I said, I'm hoping that maybe I can get his chassis or something and put in a Golden Harvest 4 board and do
Yeah,
it myself.
yeah, yeah.
So I
It is
know,
pretty
Jim.
wild.
I know. Jim says, "For shame, Mundo. No blasters. No, for shame.
No blasters. Oh no.
Not yet, Jim. Not, dude. I only have so much money, man. I get 50 a month, man. That's it. That's my budget. That's my budget,
That's
dude.
it.
50 a month barely gets me anything, but it gets me some sound fonts.
Yes, it does. You betcha. Yeah, I love
Um,
blasters too. I got a couple of those. I still haven't gotten the lead chemist ones, because they're discontinued. I've always wanted a set of those, but
mhm,
haven't came across those yet. So, but I do install them though, so that's for sure. I've installed now probably 2 or 3 sets of those, and they are really, really great. I mean, great quality. I mean, it's all metal. Those things are. That's a collector's item right there, man. That's a shelf queen, if you wanna say.
Yeah. See, my two blasters that I want to do eventually is the Han Solo one, and
Oh yeah,
eventually do a Mando. Um,
yep.
and then one of my biggest projects that I do want to take on eventually is an R2D2 full size 3D printed.
Oh yeah. I'm working on
I
that
I
actually. I have the files for that, and I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to pick a time where I can buy like 100 rolls of white and start printing them out on my printer. But I don't know if you saw that video. I did just the head for Warren McKay a long time ago, and I
oh, with
call
the
it the
saber in there.
BMF. Yeah, the BMF
Yeah,
R2D2 head. And and he really enjoyed that. But that's part of my objective is to break down all the files and then to print them individually, because I don't have a 6-foot printer to print all that stuff. So
right.
gonna
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
break it down into parts that I can do it. But that was my next project, but I just haven't got around to it. But it would be a very cool item though.
I have the what do you call it? The PlayStation 2. So I already have the
Oh
remote
yeah.
for the damn thing. Or the PlayStation 3. So I already have the
But
remote for the damn thing.
but I had to settle for this guy.
Yeah. Hey,
I had to
that's the
settle for him.
desktop version. Yeah.
This guy, yeah,
Desktop version.
this guy is really, really cool, man. I mean, I had to hunt these guys down to find them, but they got all the doors and stuff.
What is that? Is that the
Arm.
Disney one?
This is the
Is that the Disney one?
I think this is the Hasbro one, and
Oh,
then
the
he's got the
Hasbro.
drink holder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the drink holder on, and he's responsive. Hey R2, hey R2. See, he looks to you. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
They got all
I
the
might have to
codes for
track
like
one
the
down.
booklet. Yeah, I mean they're
Mhm.
very hard to find. These guys, I had 2 of them, but one of them kind of was like yellowish, because they left them in the sun. So this plastic gets a little
Yeah.
yellow. He drives, he runs, he goes. He's got a full set of wheels under here, and he goes. It's pretty cool.
There we go.
Yeah, I love this guy, man. He's so much fun. Oh,
All right.
hey, check this dude out. Oh
Well,
no,
let's.
antenna. Yeah, I got
Oh,
the Dio,
yeah.
man.
There you go.
Except I
Neo.
gave Dio training wheels so he doesn't fall over. Because he always used to fall over. Everybody was like, "Oh no, he fall over." Well, I actually make these training wheels now for Dios. So if anybody's interested, I still have one in the closet. Let me know.
Oh man, and eventually when I get around to making a droid, and some blasters, that's gonna be some future shows. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
have a show with blasters. We're gonna have a show with droids.
let's do that.
We're
That'd be
gonna have
fun.
to have. Okay, so here's the thing, though. When we do a show with blasters and droids, it will be Saber compatible. Okay, this is
Oh
Saber
sure.
Talk,
Oh
but
yeah.
Saber Talk is anything goes as well. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna make it fun, guys. We're gonna make it fun. I mean, that's the thing. We're here to stay, and we're here to have fun.
All right. I got to show you one more
And
thing before we go. If we do go, I want to show you this one because
yes.
I think you're gonna get a kick out of this droid. He's kind of big.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Oh, dude, that is so cool. Yeah.
I made this guy from scratch. I had to hunt
Wow.
down. This is. I'll just be honest with you. This is a big foam ball. This is made
I'm
out of styrofoam.
Let me see if I can try to. Let me see if I can do it from my phone. I am not sure, but let me see. I am going
So
to.
this was that interrogator droid. So I made him out of foam,
Okay,
some metal,
hold on.
some cardboard, and an old plastic, like Tupperware parts. So, and my point is that if you are willing to do it and you're willing to learn how to build and have a creating interest in your mind, you can make these things too. I mean, this thing is crazy. There he is. Hey.
Yeah,
Even got
I was
even got
trying to.
the needle,
I'm I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn this, but I'm trying to get it to where I can put you like
pair of
big
scissors for
time.
the sides. I mean, this was like when I didn't have much back then, so I just decided to make him. So he's pretty sick, man.
Yeah, I need to figure this layout out, man, so that I can try to get you on there like better, dude.
So and
You
then
know
he
what I
had
mean?
and then I have this light. I don't even know if it'll still turn on. Probably will if it. Oh, look at this. See, you have the red
Yeah.
light. Guess what that is? It's just a regular flashlight, a small little micro flashlight I just put in there, and then he moves and turns. From
Oh,
my
look at that.
movement. Yeah. So this,
That's
I
cool,
was
man.
this was gonna be in one of my fan films that I was going to do, but look, see, I have a hole so that I could stick my arm in there and actually make him do things, and there's a core in here
Uh-huh.
too that makes him light up and sound and all that. So I just wanted to show that because I thought it was pretty cool.
So that's gonna be my homework for next episode, though, is to make sure that I can learn to get where you got the full screen, you know, and that way
Oh
when
yeah,
you're showing things off or I'm showing things off, we can do it that way, and
oh
then
yeah,
go
you just
back to
swap
this
out.
other
Yeah,
screen.
yeah, that's cool. Hey,
So
it's all part of the tutorial,
learning
right?
process. Yeah, exactly. That is us. You know, and one of the videos that I was watching too is your introduction to mountain sabers. And
Oh
I was thinking, and I saw you with the long hair, and I was thinking to myself, damn, he's got the Jedi hair.
yeah, yeah.
Jedi hair. Like,
Yeah, I was a
dude.
I was a I was a rock and roller for a long time. I've been in the music industry since I was 6. So, I actually have music out there on my own and I sing and I play instruments and I do all kinds of
Oh,
stuff. So,
I've heard a few of
but
them. I heard a few of them. I like
yeah,
them.
it's
I like
pretty
them.
it's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
I
So,
do need to purchase an album, man. I'm on like
oh
I gotta
man.
get an album
Well, I could definitely. Anybody who
eventually.
wants the website information, just give me a holler on Mountain Sabers, and I'll show you where everything is, and I won't go into it now, but yeah, I used to play a lot. I used to open up for a lot of big bands with my band, and I had a really great experience. I'm
Hmm.
kind of retired from that now, and if I do creative music, it's actually Star Wars music for scoring for the sound fonts that I create. So I'm into scoring now. Like I just love to create the music and the new and genres for people. So
There you
that's also
go.
part of my job too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's just I want to do everything. I want to do everything that I can possibly do in my power, and to add to this community, writing scores and all that stuff to give somebody a little different treat from the norm it makes me feel good. So
Well, I tell you, the Saber community is definitely blessed to have somebody like you and all of the makers out there because without you guys, I don't think people would have as much joy with the lightsabers if we just had Disney as just sabers from Disney. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think
it's a
Disney
simpler
sabers.
form. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of to me the way I think of things, and this is nuts, man, and this is just me being so demented because I'm an anime fan as well, but if
Oh,
you
me
want
too.
to
I love
have
anime.
if you want to compare if you want to compare apples to oranges and stuff like that, you've got Disney as a saying, but installers like yourself and everybody else that does custom shit is the Super Saiyan God, you know, in that form, because like you can't compare. I mean, Disney started the saber stuff, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Well,
you
they put
know.
out a chain. They put out a chain of lightsabers that were in the simplest form for the kids to like, and as a collector's piece. Nobody ever, maybe 20 years or 10 years ago, or 1970 when the 74 or something, when the 76 I think when the movie came out. Nobody ever thought it was going to get to this extent. I mean, we didn't
Oh
even
yeah,
know we
even
were
Lucas himself.
bringing. Yeah, he didn't. He was like, "Oh, I just made the movie because I liked it and I wanted to tell a story." But look where we are now. It's like it's unreal the amount of technology and prints and lightsabers, and even people going on their own route to make lightsabers, custom stuff, like stuff that's not even canon or stuff that's not even in the movies, like junk sabers. I think that's something I really enjoy because it carries the story on, even if it's not, Lucas's story or
Yeah,
something. Well, it's still part of the realm. It's still part of
right.
that feel, that Star Wars feel. Like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna work with the training remote today, or I'm gonna duel my friend today or something. But it's you notice that it's always gonna be there, no matter what. It's a powerful
Exactly.
tool. It really
It
is.
is. It really is.
It's
All
great
right,
exercise.
guys. So let's call it a night before I get killed.
Oh, all right.
uh, I'm telling you. But man, I had so much fun, James. I mean, I certainly enjoy. I am so glad you're my co-pilot, dude. Because
Oh
it's
man, this
like,
has been the best Sunday fun day ever for me, man. I enjoy the conversations because we don't get to do this much, and we don't get to express ourselves to people that much. I'm always working. Remember, I said I was like Doctor Oaken, like in the Independence Day. Sorry, guys, I don't get out much.
and that's
But
what
I
the
plan on
channel's
coming out a lot
about.
more. Yeah, we got to
That's
come out
what
a
we
lot
want,
more though.
man. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're here for. We're here to have everybody give everybody a fun time to talk about what they want to talk about because they
Yeah.
may not have that avenue to talk to their significant other or just other people in general who frankly don't care about Star Wars.
Or
So we're
understand it.
here to take, you know, yeah, or they just don't understand it. So we're here to take up those reins and give you a place to come and talk sabers, talk Star Wars, have fun. You want to drink a beer, you want to drink a beer. You want to drink water, you drink water. It does not matter. We are sitting at a table, we are talking to each other, and we are talking about what we love and have fun with. So I encourage all of you guys to like and subscribe if you have not yet already to civilized sabers to mountain sabers to everybody that we talked about tonight as well. And make sure that you check out Anthony at or Space Window if you will at Civilized Sabers. Check out some of his videos, his tutorials. Check out Mountain Sabers tutorials and videos. You like and subscribe, and I tell you, come and have fun with us. I mean, if you have a Sunday 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. I think it's what Pacific time. I think
I think
uh, I think
Eastern
it's Pacific
Eastern
time,
Standard Time.
Eastern time, Eastern time.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
9 p.m. Eastern time, right? And so if you're any other place in the world. Again, if you have the time, come and watch, come and talk with us. I really appreciate it. And, we love everybody here to have anybody here. And if you want to come on the show, by all means, give me a
Oh,
PM, or an email at _Cabrera, CABRERAIII at
do it.
yahoo.com.
You got to do it. Come
And
on the show with us.
and say, "Hey, Mundo, dude, I want to be on the show with you. I want to talk with you guys. Yeah, come on in, dude. Come on in. I encourage you guys, even if you're a newbie. I tell you what, even if you're, oh, thank you, Jim. Here we go. Right, and
There
even
we are.
if you're a newbie, I don't care. I don't care. Come on the show because you know what? What better way to teach people and have people learn and get them comfortable than to have a perspective from your point of view? Okay. I am serious about that because when people such as yourself come onto the show and you have questions and you take care of this, you want to know about that, and so forth, when people are seeing you for who you are, what you're wanting to accomplish, there is no greater experience and there's no greater joy because not only are you learning yourself, but we are helping people, other people like yourself as well. Okay. And that's what Saber Talk is about. Saber Talk is not only to help people, but to have fun and encourage people to not get discouraged about what they're wanting to do. Okay. Um, and if we can help you with those things, then we have doing our job. We're doing what we're meant
Absolutely.
to do.
That's right. Yeah. Helping is everything. If people get worried or you get discouraged or you get disappointed, give us a shout, even if it's just to help you, get to that point where you're not discouraged or not upset about something, because it's not worth getting upset about of these things because these things can always be repaired. What can't be
Yeah,
repaired is
exactly.
this all the time. You can't always repair the mind because the mind is set in its ways. But if you have something wrong with a
Exactly.
saber, a font, something in the community or something like that, the community is very helpful. I mean, you will get your answer. I mean, I guarantee you that you will get your answer
One way or
through the
another.
forums. One way or another, you're going to get it.
Yeah, one way or another, you are going to get it. And also, if you, let's say for whatever reason, you cannot get a video here with Civilized Savers, then you can go to my channel at Mundo Cabrera 7007 on Instagram. Okay. Like and subscribe. Give me some love back over there, man, because whatever you see here, you're going to see over there, on the Mundo channel on Instagram. So again, I always provide second. Hey, Rich, how's it going, dude?
Yay!
Good. I'm glad you're here, man. Um, you know, so again, if you missed this video here on Civilized Sabers, go to the Mundo channel and you can always see what you missed here. Um, Sometimes I don't know if maybe they get dinged here or something, whatever have you will. But like I said, I always piggyback from Spaces channel so that way people can see the videos that they miss here over there, right? And I have not done any videos over there as far as anything else wise. I do plan to do some stuff on the Mundo channel. I just haven't done it, and I keep saying I'm gonna do it, but I got to get things straightened out before I actually do that because there's a lot of things going on in between that time. And I want to make sure that I actually, when I start doing the Mono channel, that I actually have time to cover that kind of material. And I think that the material that I'm going to come and do on that channel is going to be almost of anything channel. So I can cover all kinds of things, whether it be
Yeah.
sabers, comics, cards, sound files. I mean, you name it, anything is going to go on that channel. One thing I do and I will never do is talk about politics and stuff that's bad happening because I want everybody to have a good time. I want everybody to have fun, and I want to portray positive, good vibes for people. Okay, so with that, guys, Mundo's gonna brand out and peace out. Love you all very
See you
much.
guys. Thank you.
James, thank you so much.
Thank you, my
And
friend. It's been great.
yes, sir. Next Sunday, let's have another good conversation.
Awesome, man. See you guys.